And we are back on the pod. So, welcome back, guys. And we're now on episode 4 of Back on Bits. And today's topic is going to be about student athlete life. So, I can only speak for the student athlete life of Ateneo or being an Atenean since experienced that. And of course, from what some of the players shared and what I've noticed the past few years and way back when I was studying. So let me get it straight. Student athlete life in Ateneo is hard, but it's very doable. Um, and to start things off, um, if you want to just play basketball, don't go to Ateneo. I think it's a big no if you just want to go to Ateneo to play basketball. Unless you're gonna do it for a one and done. But if you plan to really play in college basketball and you just want to play and not study, don't go to Ateneo. You won't survive. Not that I'm being mayabang or anything, but you're just gonna waste their time, waste the program's time, waste their parents' time of sending you to Ateneo, picking Ateneo, and then you just want to play basketball and don't go to school. I think it's very obvious that we've been there, that we've seen people in the recent years that they had to sit out for for a year because they either failed their classes, didn't make the QPI, and I think Ateneo has a standard of, even though you're technically allowed to play in the UAAP or you passed enough grades but you don't make it to the QPI, they won't really let you play. I think it's standard. I think no one really was able to cheat that you go through even though you failed and you can still play. We've seen great players who had to sit out a year because of their grades, because of their QPI. And like 30, I think, was one. Rafi Viran was one. Ryan Buenafe, I think Jolo Mendoza had to sit out 1 year as well because their grades were they didn't make the QPI. And it's true. Ateneo's really on it. When they say you can play, you can't really play. And that's why I'm saying that if you don't plan to study, um, and if you just want to play, unless you're gonna do one and done, don't go Ateneo. Go to Ateneo because you're just wasting your time as well. Um, Good thing those most of those guys, 30, Rafi, Jolo, they got back up. They finished their school. They graduated. So kudos to them. It's a character build up for them, and they learned the lesson the hard way, but at least they did everything they could to get back, play again, and finish school and graduate, get that diploma. So the student athlete life, we all say it. It's a cliche, but time management is key. I think coming from high school, for me, Ateneo High School, time management is key because you have so much time compared to when you were back in high school, when I was back in high school. So in high school, I had to go to class from like 8 or 9 a.m. until 4 to 5 p.m. And now I go to college. I have like 3 1 hour classes, 2 1.5 hour classes. I have so much time. My class might be at 10:30 to 12, then my next class could be 3 to 4:30. The temptation to cut. The last class, you have a 3 hour break. I think that's where the discipline comes in. That's why I say time management is key. When do you do your homeworks? When do you do your papers? When do you study for that exam? I think it's very important. It's a cliche, but it really is very important. It's how you survive college, especially with trainings coming in to play, games coming into play. You have to miss classes. Um, you have a number of cuts, and you have to use it wisely. I went to when I was studying. I could say I was the one of the diligent guys. I don't use my cuts a lot. Um, I think time management wise, I do my homeworks, try to study before going to the gym, before training. So I don't really have to do anything at night. Um, Back then, which is I think now the men's team practices still at 6 p.m. So usually after training 6 to 9, you're really tired from the whole day, so you don't have the energy to really read your do your homework, read stuff for your classes. So um, time management is key. For the women's team, we train in the morning, so it's usually at 6 to 9 a.m., 5:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. And I think this is also key because sometimes you get lazy after training or you're tired already. You have to run to your 10 a.m. class, 10:30 a.m. class, or 9:30 a.m. The girls sometimes ask permission to leave earlier because they have a test at 9:30. So they leave like 8:50, 8:45 because they have to shower. They have to, some of them get something to eat. And then by 9:30, their test starts. So you can't really study in that 30-minute window. You have to plan ahead, maybe the night before, the morning before, the afternoon when you have long breaks. So it's really how to manage everything. And I think you really have a lot of time to do it. Um, when you fix your schedule very well, you have time for homework, readings, you have time to go to gym to do extra, you have to go time to do trainings, and you even have time to somewhat go out with friends, like have lunch, have dinner if there's no training or if your training's in the morning. So it's very important that you manage your time properly when you're a student athlete. My next point, um, I think in Ateneo you have to pick your teachers very well. Uh, those teachers will help you. Will Some of them are really helpful. Ask those previous athletes who to get and who not to get. Which teachers give high grades, which teachers are good but doesn't give high grades. So I think it's very important to know and to ask around, to ask for help as well with those kind of things. And most of the teachers are nice, they would help, but not everyone. I've been to classes where they don't care if you're an athlete or not. And a little tip is, for all teachers, most of them, you really have to go to class. I think going to class, not overcutting, will kind of guarantee you a D. So again, let me add to that. You have to pass all the requirements, pass your papers, pass your homeworks, pass whatever they're asking. And then even though I feel like this is not sure, I feel like even if you kind of have a bad grade or fail, as long as they see the effort, you've passed everything, passed every requirement. I think at least they're gonna give you a D, which is still a passing grade in a sense, since you don't have to repeat the subject. But QPI wise, it's failing already because it's one. Um, so there. I think that's how you survive college. Um, Next is you have to pick your classmates well. I know most of the athletes try to stick together, which is good, which is cool, and you should. But also you have to pick classmates who could help you in class. Um, I think for me, I was lucky enough that somewhat I was still close to my blockmates. I talk to them. So there were classes that we were classmates until second year, third year, and actually it helped a lot. It helped a lot to me that I can ask for some notes. I ask them questions before exams. I ask if they go to study, group study with them. And it helped me. I wasn't that guy who really listens a lot in class, but I go to class and I'm gonna be honest, yeah, I don't sometimes my attention span's not that long, especially if you have like 3 hour classes, an hour 30. At like the 30-minute mark, sometimes it shuts down. I have to my mind has to reset. So there, pick your classmates well. They would help you a lot. If they allow you to join them, the group study, allow them to borrow your notes, give you tips. So that's gonna be a big factor. And then I mentioned earlier, one of the important things for a student athlete is to you have to submit all the requirements. Um, a lot of players who got kicked out from the men's team, the women's team, either they overcut or they didn't submit their requirements. That's why they failed. Um, I think it's basic. Not all will give you that, will be that lenient with the deadlines. But most of the profs would really give you as much as time as you could. If you have games, yes, some of them would extend the deadlines, but you can't miss them. You really have to pass your papers, pass whatever they're asking for. Um, Let me check what's my next point. Um, in Ateneo, you have to go to class. I think most of the guys who failed is because they overcut. So it's a withdrawal without permission. And it's because they're not used to going to class. And that's why I told you earlier. If you don't plan to study, if you don't plan to finish your schooling, especially if you're in the women's division, since I mentioned this last episode that it's hard for the women's because usually, unlike the men's, you have a pro team to look that you're looking forward to. In the women's, you really have to graduate because most of them doesn't turn pro. Just a few girls turn pro or even play for the national team, and most of them are turned professionals in a lot of things. And in Ateneo, I think one of our recruiting pitch is actually um the education you get after college. We have successful Lady Eagles, and kudos to them. Most are having high positions in companies. We have lawyers, we have executives, doctors, all around the world, and I think that's our pitch usually when we recruit. I know it sounds corny for some, because yes, I know recruitment has evolved already with the money flowing in. But let's talk about that in the other episode, the next episodes. But yeah, it's true. One of our pitches is how successful our Lady Eagles are, former Lady Eagles are, and kudos to them. Like when even I when they say they're professional, like I'm really amazed in how far they are now, how far they reached, and how influential most of them are. So I think one of those are one of the things that helps us recruit girls, and hopefully it keeps that way. Um, so yeah, you have to go to class. Do not overcut. I keep repeating this. Do not overcut. Do not overcut. You can't be lazy. Know when to cut. I think that's important. Know when to use your cut. I suggest you don't cut in the first few weeks of class. And sometimes the teachers, most of them, if you have games on those dates, they still consider, even with excuse letter, they consider it with a cut. So you have to be careful if you go to Ateneo, if you're in Ateneo right now, listen to this pod. And I think it's very important with that situation. Um, my next point is discarte. Don't know how to translate it in English, but kailangan madiskarte ka. That student athlete life is about discarte in a sense that you don't really have to super duper study, but you have to be madiskarte in class. Know what to read, know that the readings might not be useful. There are times or most of classes they give you like super duper long readings, like this thick na readings, pero some of it, for me personally, I haven't read. Like I pick what readings to read. Mga important lang. Some are supplementary, it would help. If you like reading, go. But some of us don't like reading, and some of us like doesn't have that much time. So just sa tamang diskarte, know what to read, know what not to read, and I think it's gonna be one of those things na not just in readings, even in exams. Or like I mentioned earlier, look for your classmates who are smart enough that and willing enough to teach you. Share their notes. I think that's about Descarte. Um, I think in Ateneo, one of the things you should know is you will not graduate if you're not really willing to study. Like you might pass a few years and maubusan na kayo ng mga profs na madadali. Maubusan na kayo ng mga profs who are willing to help you out. There are times they can pick your profs. So if you're not willing to go to class, you're not gonna get that diploma. You're not gonna graduate. So I think it's a collaboration of the student athlete, the coaches, the parents. If the kid really wants to do this, I have stories from other schools. I don't want to touch on it. I had teammates from other schools that were surprised that we do these papers, a lot of papers, go to class. I had a teammate before said, he came from a UAB school as well. He said, ah, ganun ba? Talagang kailangan niyo pala pumasok, no? Kasi kami, ano yung accounting at Ateneos during my time was crazy. Super hirap. So siya, when he was telling me, ha? Pero yung accounting class namin, yung kinukuha namin parati namin managerial. Kasi basta mag-library lang kami, tsaka ano, pumasok sa first day of class, tapos sa last day, tapos yung iba, papunta na lang, okay na. So I was surprised, but not everyone's like that. I just had a teammate, but I know not everyone's like that. I know school where in other schools they go to class as well. Uh, though I'm telling you, it's hard where you have to really go to class and pass your papers, especially if you have a background where I know some high schools who are not really in depth or or in or they didn't really come from a high school where you have to go to class every day, you have to do a lot of homeworks, have a lot of tests, or yung iba nga hindi pumapasok. I have this story to share actually. Back in high school, so I was playing in Ateneo. So we had an all-star game, and then one of my teammates in the all-star game from a different school. said he's gonna be late for that training for the All-Star game. He said, malilate ako sa training next time. Then the coach asked, I think it was Coach Jamaic coaching. Bakit? Parang, no, 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 it wasn't Coach Jamaic. But anyway, said, bakit malilate? Then he said, um, kasi aayos pa kami ng graduation. So, kala ko, graduation na nila kasi fourth year, gano'n. Ayun pala, sabi niya, hindi, magpupukpuk pa kami ng mga backdrop tsaka ng mga lettering. Tapos, kala ko nagbibiro lang. And then, sabi niya, kailangan ko to para pumasa kasi dami kong na-miss tsaka hindi na ako pumasok ng dulo. And parang, yun, if you're not used to studying, talaga in high school is gonna be hard. I know everyone has their route. I see players who doesn't finish school and be successful to each of his own. But I'm saying if you're going to commit to Ateneo, you want to play basketball and finish in Ateneo or like do a couple of years, you really have to go to class. Or else just don't go to Ateneo anymore because you're gonna waste that year. Now moving from one school to another in the UAP will remove 2 playing years. So you have to pick wisely. When you pick a college, not that I'm saying don't recruits shouldn't go to Ateneo. I hope they go. It's fulfilling. When you both go to class, lalo na pag panalo, sarap pumasok sa class. It's fulfilling when you have that yung stress. Syempre sana wala. Pero yung nasa stress ka sa school, exam week, tapos sakto usually exam week and finals week. If you reach the UAP finals, magkasunod yun or halos at the same time, you win the championship, you go to class, sarap ng feeling ng ganon. And I know how important education is, but not everyone, you can still be successful without that. Pero syempre, okay pa rin pagka you have something backup. We've seen stories, we've heard stories, and about guys not have a backup plan, get injured, don't know what to do anymore. I hope it doesn't happen to a lot of people. I hope it doesn't happen to anyone, but it does happen. That's the sad reality. That's why when I tell players you should really have that education as much as you can, especially if you're playing in the women's division. You don't really have a lot of basketball opportunities after college, and that's about it. I think this. Oh, one last. This is a funny kwento when I was in school. There were times na nagpupuyat talaga kami. With time management, hopefully hindi maabot sa walang tulugan. Though there are times, exam week, papers, sabay-sabay. Kailangan talaga. Kailangan talagang magpuyat. Hopefully it's not during the season, patapos na or tapos na. Pero there are times na kailangan talaga yun. And then, nakakatawa dati. So, I was captain ball. I was teammates with Wami in high school. So, I saw Wami Chongson. Sabi ko, usually kasi we hang out before. Ako yung kuya-kuya nun eh. And then, Ateneo High si Wami. So, medyo maalaga ako sa mga Ateneo High boys. Sabi ni Wam, usually we have lunch together eh. Kasi yung break namin same. Sabi ko, Wam, tara lunch. Sabi, hindi, mag-aaral muna ako. May exam ako sa math. May exam ako sa math. Tapos, um, sabi ko, okay, ganun. So, kami nag-lunch. Um, and then going to class na for 1 p.m. class ata. I was walking in sec. Pagdaan ko sa sec, kita ko si Wami. Sabi ko, bakit papunta ka dito sa kabila? Parang our classes medyo magkatabi. Parang Sec A ata siya, ako CTC. Kasama yung dalawang teammates, di ko na babangkitin yung pangalan at that time. Sabi ni Mami, sabi kasi ni ano, tsaka ni ano, wag na ako mag-test. Ngayon, special test na lang kami next week. So nagalit ako. Sabi ko, ha? Halika nga dito. Alam ko maalala to ni Mom. Sana naalala niya. Sabi ko, ano yung special test? Wala namang game. Ba't ka mag-special test? Walang ganon. Di uso yun. Mag-absent lang yan. Halika. Hinatid ko si Mami sa ano, sa classroom. Um, Talagang hinatid ko sa classroom para mag-exam siya. Sabi ko, nag-aral ka tapos di ka magti-test. Sayang naman yung ano mo. True enough, um, bumagsak ata that sem yung dalawa kong ibang teammate. Nag-graduate naman. Nag-graduate naman ata yung isa. Isa, I'm not sure. I think he did also. Pero it's about what I mentioned earlier. Being smart, picking the right teachers, picking the right classmates. And final tip for student athletes, mag-consult kayo sa prof nyo. As early as the first class, first week, first couple of weeks, tell your teachers na, ma'am, pagka sa women's kayo, malilate po ako ng 9:30 class, kaya akong training, you have to communicate well. And then, pag nahirapan kayo, or kahit minsan di kayo naghihirapan, medyo sumipsip kayo, talagang magpa-consult kayo. Like I had a math class before. Minsan, yung natuturo nila, same formula that you will use sa exam. Different numbers. So when you take that exam, take that test, gamay mo na. It's so similar that it's gonna be easier. I think it helps that you really have to ask your profs, do those extra things. Kung may extra work sa training, may extra work rin sa school, and I think it helps a lot when you consult sa profs. Not everyone likes consulting. Ibang profs ayaw na sa sign time, pero most of them would love to see your effort when you do consulting. So masyadong mahaba na naman. Dami kong kwento, bitin na bitin. But that's about it for episode 4 of Back on Bits. Peace out.